You're not the first time here in Berlin, Keira, but you will be the second on your second start place, but you will be the fastest woman on the course on Sunday. Are you excited to run here already?
Yeah, I'm really excited, and it really doesn't matter how fast you make it to the starting line. It's all about who makes it to the finish line first. So, yeah, that's the goal.
that's the point. Keira, coming to you. As I said before, we met shortly before. It's very nice to have you here, especially with your story. It's maybe I can just say, you were a very successful runner in high school and college, and you had the perfect career of a young racer. You raced several years successfully, then you did your studies, then you had a family, you had kids, and you stopped running. And then, all of a sudden, what happened after 7 years?
Well, I had kids, and kids with a lot of energy. I needed a way to get my energy out, too, so I started running a little bit, and my husband is military, so he was deployed, too. So it was a lonely time for me, and I filled that space with running at the time, and then I just kept setting new goals and hitting that goal and thinking, like, well, what's next? And somehow I ended up here.
Somehow you ended up here. But it's also, when I read it right, it's also the love for running, right, that motivated you.
Yeah, and that's why I run. I run because it's fun for me. I run because I love it, and I feel good about myself when I do it. So it's more than how fast I can go. Yeah, it's way more than that for me.
So did you listen carefully when we talked before with Jürgen about how the Berlin Marathon sets out also for running with joy and so on, and integrating kids?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I'm really happy to be part of a race that also values that and helps, the family-friendly atmosphere. So I'm very proud to be here.
Because the interesting story is on the cover of Runner's World US. Keira is on the cover with her photo, and the cover is created with a lot of smileys around her. So just to show that running is fun, right? And I saw on Instagram that you posted the question if you should make a printout in life size. Did you do that already?
I have, yes. I've ordered it a 6-foot cover, and then I've cut my head out. So I have a running store in Virginia in the U.S. So when people come into the running store, they can stick their head through, and then everyone can be on the cover of Runner's World.
Fantastic, fantastic. It is your second start after Berlin 2019, which you finished here in, what was the time?
I ran 2:34.
2:34. What is your memory, and how did you experience that race then?
I had a good one, and that's why I'm back. I loved the city of Berlin. The race is so fast, and thinking about the crowds all along the way is very encouraging, and just how organized the race is. But I remember how pancake flat that is, and that's see, for marathons, when you put a lot of hills in there, it makes it even harder. So I like running fast on the flat ones. So
maybe from an elite runner standpoint, could you just explain to us how can you run a quarter of an hour faster like you did this year in Houston?
Yeah, I think that the secret to running is patience and consistency, and I think I've slowly grown and developed and been patient in my development, and I just try to chip away a little bit at a time, and I think over the last 6 years I've been able to cut off a few minutes here, a few minutes there, and then when you add that all up, it's pretty significant.
How did your season go? You were 8th in Eugene and the World Champs?
I was actually the alternate for the U.S. marathon team, and I was called up about 2 weeks before, so not a lot of time to prep for a marathon. When most people are starting their taper, that's when I was notified about it. But the opportunity to represent my country in the World Marathon Championships, there was no way I was passing that up. So that went well. Considering I hadn't done a lot of long runs and everything, I was kind of more in 10K mode at the time. But I think, that really kicked off my marathon training in a really big way, I guess. So from there, I was able to build up strength and move on from there.
Your American record, of course, 2:19, a fantastic time. You smashed the American record. And what can we expect, or what are you expecting of yourself to do on Sunday?
Yeah, I'd like to run faster than that. There's a number of American women that I think are also gunning for that record, so I think if I don't lower it myself, it's not going to be mine for very much longer. So my goal is to try to run faster than I did in Houston.
Very good. It's what is the aspect we have talked here in the years before already about very first elite runners who have had kids before and have come back stronger. Yesterday evening I sat long together with Katharina, the daughter of Katrin, and Katrin also became faster after she gave birth to Kata in that year. How was your experience with that?
Yeah, and I don't know, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, so I don't really know how that works, but my perspective has changed completely because the two kids that are at home waiting for me are my most important thing in the whole world, and they don't really care if I win or lose. So for me, I feel very free that it's not going to affect, the thing that makes me the most happiest. So I can go out, I can risk it all, I can, go big, and, and then I go home. So.
Fantastic. I know that there's a lot of Kenyan elite runners also, and for them it's not so much a topic. We always discuss it, but for them in Kenya it's self-saying that you give birth to kids and then you just go running again.